sisters. This is the ISUPK Las Vegas, and I am Precinct Officer of 50 Rock. Today is the Tuesday Brotherhood class, and as you can see on the title, we're going to go over who Christ actually died for according to the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to go off of what, Pastor Porkchop says, or, what the atheist down the street says, when ultimately, no matter what you are, if you are not in the truth, you pretty much just a Christian. You understand? With that being said, I'd just like to ask for y'all to do as I'm about to be doing, and that's to like and share these videos. Also, for those of y'all that aren't on the YouTube, make sure that you like and share the video on there. Our YouTube page, and also subscribe to our YouTube page, Slovakia, ISUPK Nevada. And then also the same thing with our Facebook page, ISUPK Las Vegas. Make sure you like the page and also like and share the video. It's important for us to all do our part in spreading this truth to the four corners of the earth. You know what I'm saying? For all you know, you might have a brother or a sister that's on your friends list, or on your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, what have you, who's out there searching for truth and knowledge of who they really are. And the only place that you can actually get that for the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is in these scriptures. You understand? All right, so as I said, just bear with me a little bit for a moment. I'm gonna like and share the video myself. But before we do get into the topic, I have an article that I wanted to bring out. Revolving over that heathen that had recently had murdered some people with an assault rifle. And the president, Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe Biden, is trying to capitalize on that to once again push to ban assault rifles. Just going back onto the whole agenda of taking away, our guns, making it harder for us to obtain guns and whatnot in America. But mind you, my focus isn't necessarily about Biden trying to take away the guns in this article. You understand? But as I said, we'll go over that when we start. Like I said, just give me a few moments to do my part in sharing this video, and then we'll get on the topic. We'll start the class. With that being said as well, is there anyone in the class, anybody online that has any questions? If you have any questions online, make sure that you put it in the live chat. We'll get to you. I'll get to your question when I can, and also if I'm able to answer it myself, I will. If I'm unable to answer it, in the ISPK, we don't try to fake the funk like how the Christian pastors do. You understand? I'll get the answer for you, or you can also wait until the Thursday scripture breakdown class with either 12 Shield General Mahyman, or if you tune into just the Las Vegas classes, Precinct Officer 1000 Shabal. You understand? So I got a couple more, and then we can start. You got that? Did you get that text message I sent you, young man? Yeah. With the article?
Yeah, I pulled up.
All right. Just making sure that you got it. Also, which one are you going to be watching? You know what? You watch the YouTube. Yeah, and I'll watch the Facebook. So I finally figured out how to watch the doggone thing. Okay, so go ahead. Matter of fact, let me pull up that article myself. Dog, it just messed me up. Okay, there we go. All right, so go ahead and start from the title of that article, and we'll get this rolling.
The title of the article is Biden urges Congress to pass assault weapon ban.
Go ahead.
President Biden on Tuesday called Congress to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines and to close loopholes in the background check system after a gunman killed 10 people at a grocery store in Boulder, Colorado.
That's short for Colorado.
Oh, Colorado.
Yeah, no sweat. So, mind you as well, just starting off, the president is caveating off of a situation that had happened in Boulder, Colorado, where somebody had killed 10 people with an assault weapon, assault rifle. Salaki. Go ahead and read on.
I don't need to wait another minute, let alone an hour, to take common sense steps that will save lives in the future and to urge my colleagues in the House and Senate to act. Biden said in remarks at the White House following Monday's shooting. We can ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines in this country once again. I got that done when I was a senator. We should do it again.
So, again, Biden, like I said earlier, Biden is trying to do it again. And Biden was part of that, that Senate that had done it before when he was a senator. You understand? He wants to take our weapons. He wants to take our assault weapons away. Now, mind you, again, that is not the focus. That's not the reason why I'm bringing this out. We're going to get to it in a few moments. Go ahead and read on.
Biden called on the Senate to immediately pass 2 House-passed bills that would expand background checks for firearm sales.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that both passed the Democratic-controlled lower chamber with some Republican support. Mm-hmm. One of the bills would close the so-called Charleston loophole by extending the initial background check review period from 3 to 10 days. The bill is linked to the 2015 shooting in Charleston, South Carolina, in which a white supremacist killed 9 Black Americans at the Mother Emanuel A&E Church.
Go ahead.
Biden noted that officials were still waiting for more information on the shooter, his motive, and the weapons he used. Various reports Tuesday indicated that the suspect used an AR-15 style assault rifle to carry out the attack.
Mm-hmm.
The president said he was being regularly briefed by Attorney General Merrick Garland and FBI Director Christopher Wray and is in touch with state and local leaders in Colorado. Biden thanked the heroic police and first responders and commended the exceptional bravery of Eric Taylor, the police officer who died while responding to the shooting. Biden also offered condolences to the families who lost loved ones. Those poor folks who died left behind families. That leaves a big hole in their hearts, Biden said. Those families who are mourning today because of gun violence in Colorado and Georgia and all across the country, we have to act so there's not more of you. There's fewer.
All right, hold on, Salaki. For some reason, your article is different than mine because they actually did identify it. Now, right here where it says authorities on Tuesday, I want you to read this. Go ahead and read it right here where it says authority. Okay.
It's looking weird.
All right, no sweat. Go ahead.
Authorities on Tuesday identified the suspect as 21-year-old Ahmad Aliwa Alyssa from Arvada, Colorado. He has been charged with 10 counts of murder.
Stop right there. Now, so from everything that we just read, why do y'all think I brought this article out? What is so significant about this article that I'm bringing this out? When you look at the things that, I'll give y'all a hint. When you look at the things that the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans do in this country, we're immediately looked at as savages. We're immediately labeled as criminals, thugs. Hell, our Israelite brothers and sisters, our Mexican brothers and sisters, they're just rapists and drug dealers. We have one person who does something wrong, gets caught up on it, gets framed, mind you, as well. And all of us are just terribly bad. Now, read that name one more time, and then we'll revisit that question.
Ahmad Aliwa Alyssa.
What do you think this person is? His nationality, his ethnicity. Go ahead.
Arabic.
He's of some sort of Middle Eastern Arabic descent. Okay, I looked it up. He's Syrian. All right. So, from what we've already read throughout that entire passage. Now, mind you, I almost said President Obama, Sleepy Joe Biden, gave a little his condolences to the families that had their loved ones taken away, and then also as well, he praised the police officer that was killed. He said he was a hero, right? I mean, that's kind of expected. That's what we expect him to say. But what is one thing that he did not say? What's something that he did not say that I'm basically bringing out, that I'm pointing out? Oh, make sure you watching the YouTube. Make sure that I get on
Nothing on YouTube.
All right, no sweat. Let me see if anybody has picked it up on Facebook. All right. Young man, can you tell me what's significant about what's going, what was not said in that article?
That person was a savage or anything like that.
Okay, you on the right track, though. You on the right track. Now, mind you, also, keep in mind what the title of this class is today. Of course, it is Brotherhood, right? That's the type of class that we in. But the subject of the class for today is who Christ actually died for. Now, why did Christ die for certain people in the first place? What was the reason for him, shedding his blood for anybody else? Can you tell me that? For what reason? Why did Christ shed his blood for anybody else? What was the reason of his death? Why did he die for anybody else? Why did he shed his blood for something for anyone else? Go ahead.
Died for our sins.
Whose sins?
Israel's sins.
Okay. So now, you're right. Christ did die for Israel's sins. But why though? Oh, okay, no, not why. What's another? Give me more on that. Why did he die for our sins?
To show brotherhood, to show that he's about us, he cares about us.
Okay, for the sake of brotherhood, But out of the sake of brotherhood, what is his blood ultimately? His blood being spilled for us out of brotherhood. What do we ultimately get out of that as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? But who we really are the Israelites. What do we really get out of that?
A chance to change.
Okay, chance to change. Give me more.
So,
right, repentance is the same thing. So give me more. What are you repenting for?
Repenting for your sins.
Okay, start stepping. When you get away from your sins and you repent from your sins, that brings you closer to what? Not who, what?
To righteousness.
Well, you already righteous if you completely repent. If you get away from all your sins, then you pretty much righteous. You upright because you ain't sinning no more. But as a collective here in the ISUPK, what are we teaching our brothers and sisters to be able to obtain?
Salvation.
All right, that's it. That's exactly it. It's salvation. That's what I'm looking for. Now, how do you get salvation? When one gets salvation, what happens to someone else?
Destruction.
Destruction. Okay. Now, why is it that there was no destruction? Why was there no destruction, no demeaning words, no derogatory terms thrown? And when I mean derogatory terms, I mean it could be just as simple as calling this man a terrorist, a thug. Because mind you as well, I said, the dude in the article is Syrian. I mean, he may not be the exact people that had, hit the Twin Towers, but I mean, we all know that white people goofy as hell, and if you come from a certain region, Japanese people, Koreans and Japanese, they're all Chinese to white people, right? I mean, that's also part of the reason why, any of our brothers are of darker skin, that's why they so caught up in Africa, because the so-called white man led us to believe that, we're African. Because the white man just sees you a certain way and, just groups us all in. You understand? So with what, I don't want to put it, with this Syrian man, why wasn't it that he didn't receive any type of destruction from from the president? He wasn't demeaned at all. They didn't come after him at all. Say that he was a terrorist. It's almost as if, because technically that's a terrorist attack. Right. Essentially, he caused terror with that weapon, right? So, but why isn't it that he's not in a position where anybody necessarily has to come and save him? Where essentially, someone like Christ has to come and save him.
For one, he's not.
It's not Israel. If that's what you're about to say, I know that. That's what you're about to say? Yeah. Okay. But, all right, here's does he need saving? Does he even need it? Because, I mean, essentially, he's acting out the way that his people, his countrymen, his people, how they feel about this country in the first place, right? Where they, hell, it may not be Syria themselves, but the Middle Easterns, they want the heads of the white Americans. They want American heads. I believe Iran themselves, they got a bounty, a big old bounty on President Trump for killing one of their generals, commanders, what have you. You know what I'm saying? But mind you, again, who's gonna save Trump? Does Trump even need saving? Does he even need any type of protection? Do you think he does?
I wouldn't think so at all. I mean, personally, they don't really matter, so that's nothing to do with me, honestly.
I mean, hey, I'll give you that. But just to kind of give it to you, the point that I'm trying to make is all these other nations, all these other people, the Moabs, the Ammonites, the Ishmael over there, the Hamites, the Edomites, what have you. They're able to do these things and watch. In no time, whatever they do with this bill, or if they reban assault rifles or not, no matter what's going to happen either way, this man's going to be forgotten, done and over with. And they're not even going to bash him that hard. We're not even going to we're not even going to go to war with Syria. And this is that. It says he's a Syrian American from what I had looked up, but that's your people. Is he going to get sent back to Syria? Because obviously he's acting out these terrorist acts because he don't like being here. And what the white people try to tell our Hispanic brothers when they're just like, y'all ruined America, this, that, and the other. And what do white people say? If you don't like it here, go back to Mexico. When especially if you're in Las Vegas, this is Mexican territory. This is Mexico. You in California, you in Mexico. You understand? You in Texas, you in Mexico. You understand? So they were supposed to be. But, back on the old dude, obviously he don't like America. Is he going to be sent back to Syria? He might do some time. 10 counts of murder. He'll get his little punishment. Maybe. We'll see. But do you see the point that I'm making? The fact that these other nations essentially can do what they want to whomever they want, to each other, especially to us, particularly to us. And they don't need anyone's help to get out of any type of situation that they want, because they already have the power to do these things, inflict this type of pain and suffering on us and everywhere. You understand what I'm saying? So, with that being said as well, to bring it over to us, because, we're going to start talking about them heathens a little bit. Bring it over for us. Who's going to help us if we get into a situation where we cause one of our brothers and sisters is caught up in a terrorist act? Who's going to help us if, we caught up in drugs, we caught up in any of the foolishness that these other nations get caught up in? Who's going to be there for us? You got it? Go ahead.
Yeah, I wish I much got.
Now, hold on now. If you have dealings with drugs, you think Yahweh Shai Mashiach or Jesus Christ in the English, you think that he's going to be there to bail you out? That's a Christian mindset.
Well,
go ahead.
If you were, willing to change, I mean, in that kind of perspective would be there. But otherwise, if you keep going down that same path, I mean, the hell with you, honestly. Like, you're an enemy. You're being an enemy.
An enemy to whom?
To Israel.
Okay.
Because you're not being brotherly. Because I mean, you're not just selling it to the other nation. You're selling it to our people too.
Right.
Whoever is buying, honestly.
No, right.
So that's everybody.
No, right. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. So on that context, when you say if you're willing to change after, if you actually not willing, but you actually do change after you put in that work to repent, so that you, and change your life around, to stop doing them things, stop making our sisters into whores. So like you, stop being a homosexual, stop selling drugs, what have you. Then yeah, the Lord will be by your side. Will be on your side. You're right. So, how I want to put this question? So, to get on, to start going into the topic, Salakia, start getting into the topic. Who did Christ actually die for? Just to make a quick, short answer, because obviously, we're gonna start proving it in the scriptures. Go ahead.
So-called Black Hispanics, Native Americans, Israel.
Okay, but can you give me more than that though? Who in particular of the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans?
Like what their actual ethnicity would be today, or
I mean, the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's what they're.
Like, that's more of like nationality, ethnicity. It's like going into it.
No, within what you just named of the Israelites, who of the Israelites did Christ die for?
I would say the ones that are following in his footsteps, that are part of the 1/3.
Okay. That whole 1/3, 2/3 thing. First, I'm just gonna say, of course, we acknowledge it. We acknowledge that. We know that that's in the scriptures and everything, but don't let that be a railing guide onto trying to figure out. Understand what 1/3, 2/3 is, or 1/3 will be saved and 2/3 will be destroyed. Understand that, but don't cling on to that too much. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, for one, also understand this, that the Most High is a living God, and as a living God, He has the ability to change His mind. Will He? I mean, Lord willing, He would. He will. But the thing is why is there a 2/3 though? So actually, yeah, I'm glad that you did bring that out. Why is there a 2/3? When we're talking about who Christ actually died for within Israel, why is there even a separation of a 1/3 and a 2/3 of Israel in the first place?
Because that 1/3 followed in the same footsteps as Christ. The other decided, to live in the world, do worldly things.
Okay, so you're saying live. All right. See, that's what I'm trying to think exactly how I want to word this for you without giving you the answer. Because you right there that the 1/3 is following into His footsteps, but mind you as well, are you following into His footsteps right now? You are. So you without blemish. You have no sin. You washed. You completely repented. You a whole new creature already. Oh, okay. I mean, we ain't got to go into detail. I'm just making a point.
All I'm saying is I'm
You're getting in a line with Christ, right? But were you in line before you knew about this truth?
Wow.
So how did you get the opportunity to even have the opportunity to get yourself straight? to walk in the footsteps of Yahweh Shah Mashiach, our King, Jesus Christ in the English.
Got the opportunity from you.
No. Okay, how did I get the opportunity to even give you this word? How did Commander General Yohana get this opportunity for it to trickle down all the way down to, my piece of crap self, to finally give it to you so that you had the same opportunity that I have all the way up?
Most High.
We got anything on YouTube?
Wow.
Okay, so give it to you. Christ died for that. Christ died for that opportunity. Part of that salvation, because mind you, when you have salvation, what must you also have synonymously with it? Destruction. So for you to have salvation, who else has to die? Who has to be destroyed?
The other nations.
For you to have salvation, for you to become righteous, for you to be a new creature, who has to be destroyed? Yahweh has to be destroyed. All right. For you to actually begin to even walk in Yahweh Mashiach's footsteps, you have to destroy that old you. That's where it begins. You understand? The salvation begins within yourself, essentially. Because when you destroy your old self to be that new creature, and then, of course, the rest of the brothers and sisters in the ISUPK is doing that, we are a brand new nation of new creatures, essentially. Now it's upright and righteous, upright and righteous Israel, whereas before the ISUPK, all of Israel was wicked, period, right? It was wicked. We was just a wicked nation, just straight destroyed. But once the ISUPK, when it started in 1969, started, teaching our brothers and sisters who they are and our actual culture. The so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. ISUPK gave us our actual identity back. Yeah, identity back. Salaki. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of our Hispanic brothers and sisters, they call themselves Mexican. Man, you ain't Mexican. You from the tribe of Issachar. Matter of fact, a lot of y'all don't even know America wasn't even called America. I might butcher the name, but I believe it was actually called Asarath. This land is called Asarath according to the scriptures. You understand what I'm saying? All of these lands that we know about now, America wasn't always America. Africa wasn't even always Africa. That was the land of Ham, not even just Ham, but we own that land as well. There was the land of Judah was over there. Israel is technically on the, I believe it's where it shares the tectonic, a small portion of it shares the tectonic plate of Africa, which is part of the reason why a lot of people, will try to sit there and argue that, if you're Israelite, then you also African. But that's for another class. But these terms, these names that we give ourselves, this was never our name. This was never who we were. Before we used to actually be a nation where we called ourselves by our own name, who we actually are. You Mexican, you tribe of Issachar. You so-called Negro, you tribe of Judah. The so-called Haitians, man, that's a tribe of Levi. You know what I'm saying? But of course, we wouldn't even call Judah and Issachar. We was called Yahweh in the Hebrew. And then I might butcher it, but in the so-called Mexicans, Issachar, That's Yashakar, Yashakar, Salaki. It's Yashakar. That's who they are. That's their identity. From all of us from the nation of Israel. You understand what I'm saying? So Christ essentially died for us to regain everything that we had. But first, we had to destroy ourselves, our old selves, so that we can become our new selves, to become the people that we were, that we were originally in the first place. So you killing your slave portion, the slave you, the oppressed you, you get rid of all of that, where you sitting there getting high, being a homosexual, doing all them ungodly things. When you kill that person, then you actually become free. That's when you actually become free, and that's when you actually become who you really are. And who you really are is someone that the most high God loves in the first place. You understand? So we're gonna start from we're gonna pick up at the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21. We're gonna get on the subject of who Christ died for. Matter of fact, we're gonna start at the very first verse of the New Testament. So we're gonna start at Matthew 1:1. We're gonna start there.
Khan. The book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 1.
Go ahead.
The book of the generation of Yahushua Mashiach.
Read that first line again.
The book of the generation.
What does the word generation mean?
Beginning.
That's Genesis. What is a generation?
Genealogy.
Let's look it up. We in a class, right? This is a classroom setting. Let's not sit here and just guess and act like we Christians and just say what we feel and just, oh yeah, you know what, that feels right. So we're gonna teach it. Let's be sure. Go ahead.
Generation. All the people born and living at about the same time, regarded collectively.
Okay, so this is the book of the generation of Yahushua Mashiach. So that's the book of Yahushua Mashiach. The book of Matthew is the generation, the people who live at the time of Yahushua Mashiach. Like for instance, you got the millennial generation, Gen Z, all that. Those are the generation, the people that live at that time, right? So read on. Wait, did you have something you wanted to ask? All right, go ahead.
The son of David, the son of Abraham.
Hold on. Salaki. First and foremost, I thought that Christ didn't have no daddy. You just named how many fathers?
2.
There's 2 of them. What's their name?
David and Abraham.
David and Abraham. That's crazy because I could have sworn that, we was all taught that there was the Immaculate Conception. You know what I'm saying? This right here, the very first verse, the reason why we start right here before we actually go into who Christ actually had died for, I want you to understand that Christ was born just like you and I. You understand? Christ has fathers. It's like, hold on. Christ had a father. He has 4 fathers just like we do. You understand? Drop down to go. All right, so we got that already, cleared up. Go down to verse 21, like I asked.
The book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21. And he shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people from their sins.
He shall save who?
His people.
Everyone.
His people.
The whole earth.
His people.
His people. From what?
From their sins.
So he's going to save his people from their sins. You understand? So Yahushua The people, the descendant, Salagi, Yahushua descended from whom? We just touched on verse 1. He descended from whom?
David and Abraham.
So Abraham and David, right? Who was the promise originally given to in the first place? The covenant originally given to in the first place?
To Abraham.
To Abraham, right. So whose people is Yahushua?
The same as Abraham's people.
So, but how many sons did Abraham have? Did he only have one son? As far as I know, he had two. I could be wrong. It might be more, but he did. He had Ishmael, and he also had Isaac, right? But who did the promise continue with?
Isaac.
With Isaac. And who did Isaac? Did he have sons?
He had two sons.
Who was his two sons?
Jacob and Esau.
Which one of those two sons had gotten the promise?
Jacob.
So, in other words, Yahushua comes from the descendant before David. Give me the three progenitors that everybody speaks about out of the Bible. You just named them.
Abraham, Isaac, and David.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, so Christ comes from what lineage? Who were some of his progenitors? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Who does the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans come from?
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
So who is his people? Who is Yahushua's people?
Descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Which is, who are they today?
So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans.
Exactly. So Christ only came for the Israelites because Jacob got his name changed to what?
To Israel.
To Israel. Jacob had 12. Israel had 12 sons. Those 12 sons got this entire nation that we have today, what we known as the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans today. And that's who Christ died for. You understand? Go ahead and read verse 21 again.
And he shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua. For he shall save his people from their sins.
He shall save his people from their sins. You understand? Understand that. All right? We're going to drop that. Go to the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 5.
Khan, the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samarites enter ye not.
Okay. Now hold on. So go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samarites enter ye not. Who's the Gentiles in this Samaritans in this context? Who are they? Read the next verse.
Verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Okay. So now mind you, what color is this written in?
In red.
Which means?
Yahushua is speaking.
Okay. So if Yahushua is saying, he's telling his 12 disciples to go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into the city of the Samaritans enter ye not. What is the way of the Gentiles? Let's start with that.
Taking part in the worldly things.
But, right, exactly. Don't do what these other nations do. Don't get caught up in that, because he's basically sending them off on their way to go and fish for the lost the lost sheep of Israel, right? Slaki. Then he said, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. Who would the Samaritans be? I'm not asking who the Samaritans are today, but in the context from what we just read, who are the Samaritans?
Just the other nations.
It's another nation. It's a heathen nation. Now, mind you as well, from we had just read in verse 21, Matthew 1 and 21, where it had said that, that Christ is going to come back and save his people, his own people. Why is it that in Matthew 10, 5 and 6, 5, 10 and 5, why is Yahushua saying, let's go help the Gentiles. Let's go spread the word to the Samaritans. Let's go help the Romans. Let's go help the Greeks. Let's go help the whole world. In fact, he's giving an order to stay away and do not do these things of these heathen nations. Don't get caught up in what they're doing. Don't go into this city that's just Samaritans. Why doesn't he want them to go into a city of just Samaritans? Why doesn't Yahushua want the disciples to go into the city of into a city of just Samaritans?
Because that's not where our people are.
That's not our people. We're not Samaritans. That's not Israel. You understand what I'm saying? Read verse 6 again.
Verse 6.
Uh-huh.
But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
To the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's Yahushua's main focus. It's the lost sheep. Those that, our drug addicts, our whores, our strippers, Yahushua wants them to repent and return back to, essentially wants them to establish the former glory of our nation. One thing, think about it. We can start off as just, we slaves, broken down, can't do nothing without master's permission. Except for sell some ass, sell some drugs, kill each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically how they view us. Because obviously that's not even completely true in the first place. Especially when you come into the ISUPK, you come to realize that for yourself. This is a place where all of the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans can come together, have some drink, and have absolutely no issues. You understand? Where we won't even have a fight won't even break out. You understand? No, but it says Dwayne Davis. So it says go not into the way of the Gentiles and into any city of the Samaritans, enter ye not. So basically, all right. So what I was pointing out, I might have said that incorrectly when I was explaining that, is a city of just Samaritans. I believe I actually did say that where we wouldn't even find our people in the first place. You understand? So it's kind of like, for example, Commander General Yohana he's not gonna push us out into a city in Las Vegas, because Las Vegas technically, we've got multiple North Las Vegases. We've got, we got Henderson, we got Summerlin, all of that is in Las Vegas, right? It's different areas of Las Vegas. But Commander General Yohana does not want us to go into the city of Las Vegas of the heathen. You understand what I'm saying? So that would be somewhere in the suburbs where it's, like there is no Israelites at all. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean that's the best. Let me know if you understand that the way that I just put it. I'll give you a few moments to respond. Because mind you as well, he said, "Go not into the way of the Gentiles." So don't go in the way of the Gentiles, and also don't go into a part of the city that ain't got nothing to do with Israel, ain't got nothing to do with with the lost sheep. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead, you got something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask him. I don't know, it might be a dumb question, but
Ain't no dumb question. Ask a question. If you don't know,
can a Gentile also be considered an Israelite too? Can they be called Gentiles?
That's an excellent question. That is not a dumb question in any sense. That's an excellent question. For those of y'all that might not have heard him, and mind you as well, make sure that you speak up. All right, especially if you're asking a question. Don't be afraid of admitting that you don't know something first and foremost. You understand? But the question that the young man had just asked was, can Gentiles also pertain to Israelites, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? And yes, that also does pertain to it. Could pertain to the Israelites. While we still waiting for this brother to respond, I don't know how far back he is, how far back the delay is. I'll give him a few more minutes. We'll just get the definition of what Gentile is, and then we're just gonna move forward. Maybe he actually does understand what have you. Look at the word Gentile, and now that'll kind of give you help you with a little bit of a breakdown with that as well, or help you with a little bit more of an understanding. Salaki. So we ain't too far behind. When you find it, read it out. Is it a long definition?
It's pretty long.
It is pretty long?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
So find in that definition where it says basically that, and these are my words, but basically that it can alternate between pertaining to an Israelite who just follows the customs of other nations, and then also how it's also used as a term for just basically anybody that doesn't follow the law, statutes, commandments, that doesn't follow our ways. freaking ear. So lacking. All right, so Dwayne Davis, I'm just going to assume that you understand. Since you hadn't responded back. I got water in my ear. Let me see something. Yeah, finally, let me see it. All right, Most High Christ, Dwayne. Huh?
I want to say it's this part, like this one.
Let me see it. All right, go ahead. No, just go ahead and read it. Just go ahead and read it. Let me hear it.
It says,
Just speak up.
reaching the Gentiles was led to the activity of the Holy Spirit walking through his disciples. Thus, in the book of Acts, following the appointment of Paul as the apostle to the Gentiles became increasingly prominent. I don't know, none of it really makes sense.
No, that's not it. Let me see it. Yeah, I got it. So first off, it says Gentiles, a non-Jewish person. All right. So a non-Jewish person. So mind you, if you're not Jewish, you considered a Gentile. So I think I actually need to get a new Zondervan's because I've noticed that a lot of the definitions on this one is slick kind of off from the other ones that come out in the other classes. But let's see here. Occurs occasionally in Old Testament versions as a rendering Hebrew people nation. Look up the definition of rendering. RENDER. ING.
Rendering a performance of a piece of music or drama.
Oh, here we go. Okay. I believe you have to partner it up also with the word Helen. Because you also understand what the word Helen means. Oh, wait. That's not. Look up Helen. HELLEN. It's Greek. It's a Greek word. Hey, Dwayne Davis. So check this out. I want you to look me up on, or matter of fact, yeah, look me up on Facebook because that's something that you need to seek counsel on. Look me up on Facebook with my personal page, which is Arak Yahawada. I'll actually post it in the chat myself. All right, so look me up on there. With that, I'm not gonna get. I'll just let you know. I'm not gonna get too far into details with that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the bare minimum information that needs to be taken, so that I can get you counsel with a mightier man than myself that knows how to deal with what you're going through. You understand? So send me a personal add me, send me a personal message or direct message, whatever y'all call it on Facebook. Send that to me, and then after class I'll get some information from you so that I can pass it along to a man that can basically help you. You know what I'm saying? So within a reasonable time frame, you'll be contacted by a mightier man than myself to help you with any issues that you have. You understand? But also, with that being said, what I can actually tell you that I know will help in the meantime until you get that counsel is keep on coming to class. You understand? That's going to be the first step, period. You understand? So, did you find that, young man?
Kind.
Okay, go ahead and read it.
All it says here is Thessalian king and Epaminondas, ancestor of the Hellenes. That's all I'm getting.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll do a little bit more research on that for another class. But I'll go ahead and just break this down for you for what Gentile is. So first and foremost, it says a non-Jewish person. Okay. So technically, what it's supposed to say is a non-Israelite person, anybody that is not of Israel. Okay. With that being said as well, you go down. It says, but more frequently in the New Testament, to translate the Greek word ethnos, which is nation or tribe, sometimes it is used also to translate Helen. So basically, what Helen means is it's another word for like basically heathen. And what a heathen is somebody that's from another nation. Now, mind you, as I said, I'm going to do further research, so I'll probably bring it out in the beginning of my next class. So then that way, y'all don't sit here and just think, man, this nigga just sitting here just pulling words out of his tail and just saying whatever just kind of fits the doctrine type thing. Like we're gonna prove all things. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, the answer to your question is yes. A Gentile is both for Israel and also for the other nations. But how do you think that it pertains to an Israelite, though? If you can classify all the other nations as Gentiles, what is the similarity? How can you call an Israelite a Gentile?
Someone who's taking part in the other nations.
Exactly. Shalom. It's that simple. You want to act like a heathen? You want to act like a Gentile? Then you're a Gentile. You're a heathen. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, with our cousin that had lived out there in South Carolina and whatnot. There was that one brother. He was a Judite brother. Now, not him in particular, because he really didn't act like a redneck. But there's brothers out there where they straight up Judah, they Israel, but they act like a redneck. You know what I'm saying? And that's a term that you use for for Esau. Basically, you act like a old Southern racist. I got the Confederate flag, got dip spit from, my ankle up because I do so much dip spit and I shoot everything. They're redneck, right? But then you got brothers who act like them. Even though that you Israel, you ain't even white to begin with. You ain't a so-called white man, but you act like them, so I'm gonna call you a redneck. Does that make sense? All right, yeah, no sweat. So, all right, let's start from verse 5 because we kind of took a little bit of time from looking up that definition. I need to switch up. I need to find out what's going on with that because a lot of them definitions ain't correct. Go ahead, start from verse 5.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
Okay, so, the brother Dwayne Davis, he said that he understands that. I think he meant thank you. So, hey, I ain't the bar. No sweat. Just make sure that you hit me up. Go ahead and read on.
Verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Verse 7. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Okay, so right there, what's the ISUPK doing? What's the ISUPK doing? Just think about that whole little snippet of a breakdown that we just did. What's the ISUPK doing? Are we going into the ways of the Gentiles? Are we going into the ways of the other nations? Are we going into the areas where it's just white people? Where it's just, are we going into Chinatown? Are we going into, is there Koreatown? No, I'm kind of just throwing things out there. Is there an African booty scratcher village? Is there a Viet Town or anything like that? Like, do we go into those areas where it's just them? Because mind you as well, like Las Vegas is segregated like that. You know what I'm saying? You go onto the east side, you dealing with Israelites. You dealing with the so-called Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can literally cut it off section by section on the map and say, you know what, you got a bunch of niggas there, you got niggas there, and there's white people all there. Then you got, the Asians. Then you got this, that, and the other. Like, you can break it down simply, area by area. A section of I see that you on Facebook. Are you watching YouTube?
No, I'm on YouTube.
You on YouTube? Okay. I'm just making sure. You can break down Las Vegas on a map by race. You really can. And Las Vegas is a perfect grid. It's a modern city. It's been modernized. It's a perfect grid. Perfect. What's it called? Lateral and what's the other one?
Longitude.
I think it's longitude and latitude. Yeah, longitude and latitude lines. It's a perfect up and down, left and right. It's perfect. A perfect grid on the map. And with that, like I said, red line. Identifying the redlining, too easy. And identifying what races are on each side of the redlining, again, too easy. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, the entire point that I'm bringing out with this verse is that, starting from Matthew 1 and 21, Christ, was going to be born for his people. He's going to save his people, right? Then we go into Matthew 10, 5 through 7. Salaki. See me one more time. Matthew 5, actually, on both. Baba Kashad. Salaki. Then we go into Matthew 10, 5 through 7, Salakia. And Yahushua himself, or Jesus Christ, is issuing out an order to, go into the cities, go and fish out our people, but just don't go into the ways of the Gentile. Don't go into the ways of these heathen nations. Don't go into their city. Don't go into the part where, you just got a bunch of, Chinatown. Don't go into Chinatown. Don't go into the part where it's just, so-called white man. Go into the parts where, you got our brothers and sisters doing their thing, where, they function. Yeah, they doing some worldly things because we destroyed, but go out there and fish them out of that destruction. Mind you, if I just really quick, before I go into what I was about to say, switch over to the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 24. Now, since I've been into the ISUPK, I haven't actually witnessed it for myself. All right. But I've actually met these brothers, though. The actual upbringing, and like they powerful stories, man. Like, it's crazy to hear a lot of them. And then, of course, when I see them, when I meet them, hell, I mean, I gained some weight, so I can't say that they bigger than me because, I keep on growing. I'm a grown boy. But, I meet these brothers and they look healthy. All right. They look like, man, they doing their thing. Like, they've had a job for years. They might be figuring out what they're going to do with they, actually, what direction they're going to go with their careers and everything. Mind you, within, the ISUPK, but I met so many brothers, talked to so many brothers, like during the West Coast Cookout, where some of their origin stories was, yeah, man, I was homeless for X amount of years, X amount of months, cracked out, coked out, cracked out. I was a meth head, this, that, and the other for X amount of years, X amount of months, doing this, doing that, doing worldly, terrible things, and clean themselves up because they learned who they were. Y'all understand what I'm saying with that? Y'all understand with just that in itself, how that proves how powerful this word is, how it proves how powerful the Most High is? Because mind you, again, in the ISUPK, you're not going to get two brothers feuding over I know you brothers know what I want to say, but a female. We ain't going to be strifing over a female. In fact, the issue that the two brothers that are going to have when it comes to a female is, nah, nigga, you take her. Nah, come on, priest, you take her. Now you take her, man. You had your eyes on her first. Nah, but you know what? I love you enough that I ain't even tripping. I want you to take her. I think she'd be better with you. Now, mind you, that's not in the sense of, they was actually dealing with her, already dealing with her where they already, either of them stuck their rod inside of her. But you understand what I'm laying out?
Come on.
They was, basically just two brothers like, man, damn, she look good. I might have to spit on that. I'm gonna do it. No, you know what? Nah, I feel like you eyeballing her a little bit more than I am. So you know what? You go ahead and have her. Nah, it's like you take it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you experience in the ISUPK. That's the type of brotherhood that you experience in the ISUPK. You understand? Uh-oh. I think are we still live?
For all I know,
okay. There's a thing cut off on that. All right, no sweat. Moving forward. Damn, Salaki. I still kind of forgot what I was about to say. I'm not even gonna front. You got that verse I asked you to pull?
Khan.
All right, go ahead and read it.
Khan, the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 24.
Uh-huh.
But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Hold up. Time out. Read that again.
Con. But he answered and said,
Who answered and said this? How do you, first and foremost, how do you know who's about to speak? Just, you don't even have to go up. You don't have to go down. Go ahead.
it's in red right there.
It's in red. So when it's in red, what's that mean?
Yahushua speaking.
This is Christ about to speak right now. Go ahead.
I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
I am not sent, but to the whole world.
But unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
To white people.
But unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Africans.
But unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Man, let me ask y'all something as well, because of course, you know, we dealing with the biblical terms and whatnot. You know, the way that the Bible talks about us isn't the same as how we talk today. Because of course, you know, unless you actually know who you are, you ain't saying, oh, you know, we the lost sheep of Israel, or we even Israelites. When you in the world, you know, I'm just another nigga. You know, I'm just another wetback. You know, I'm black. I'm Hispanic. I'm Native American. I'm another savage. Whatever. You understand? You even refer to yourself as bywords on top of the byword that you already referred to yourself as in the first place. And that in itself is terrible. Think about that in itself lets you know that you lost. Because if I may, you know, do the Asians, do they refer to themselves as chink eyes? Do they refer to themselves as fish heads? Do they refer to themselves as their derogatory terms that they have for themselves? Their bywords that they have for themselves? Matter of fact, real quick, I want you to pull that. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Look it up. It's you know, paraphrasing it. You know, you'll live as you'll be known as a byword, basically, is what it'll come up as. Something along them lines. Read that for me real quick. But while he's looking that up, I mean, do any of these, hell, do Africans even, you know, live their life? Are they known as niggas? Are they known as niggers? For crying out loud, they got a byword for us here in America. You know, a so-called Negro here in America is, you know, they call us katas, which means, I believe is the African word for cotton picker or whatever. But nonetheless, it's still a derogatory term. It's still a byword that we are known as by those people. By all the other nations on this earth, we are the only people that all 12 tribes, all of us, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are only known and referred to as a byword. It could be thug, gangsters, what else? Give me more. Because, I mean, we won't just stick on the racial slurs. You know, thugs, gangsters, drug dealers, rapists. Savages. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, everything, every single adjective that you can describe a so-called, I ain't gonna say so-called, just in case we get monitored for this. Everything that you can describe, Esau, the devil, the devil that the Bible speaks of, all of his adjectives that you can actually describe him with, that's what we're labeled with. It's just dispersed amongst our people. Actually, no. He uses every single one of his own adjectives to describe blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And then the sad part is, again, we own up to it. We think it's cool. I mean, if that in itself doesn't say that you lost and destroyed, man, like that's sad. And to keep it a buck with y'all, that's a big reason why, if I may, just real quick, like that's a big reason why, the ISUPK had, drawn me the way that it did. You know what I'm saying? Did you find that? All right, hold on, because I know where it's at. I just don't remember the exact verse. It's Deuteronomy 28. My phone will let it. Read Deuteronomy 28 and 37. Yeah, that's it. Deuteronomy 28 and 37.
Con.
Uh-huh.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 37.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt become an astonishment,
Uh-huh.
a proverb,
a proverb,
uh-huh, and a byword among all
and a what?
And a byword.
And a byword. Go ahead.
Among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
Now, I want you to take a moment and read or look up all three of them words. What is a proverb? What is an astonishment? And what's a byword? We're gonna go over all three of those. And matter of fact, which one are you looking up right now?
Astonishment.
Good. I'm gonna look up definition of a proverb, and then you can take byword at the end. So, proverb definition. Go ahead if you got it.
Astonishment.
Uh-huh.
A great surprise.
So you'll be known as a great surprise. Is that it? Is that the only one? That's the only one?
Con.
Goofy freaking dictionary is a little meh. Let's see. QRF. Okay. Yeah, I still do my ABCs when I be looking stuff up. All right. Astonishment is AST, correct? ASTO.
Con.
Let's see. And that's not even in here either. All right, no sweat. So what was the definition again that you read?
Great surprise.
Great surprise. So it says, thou shalt become a great surprise, a proverb. Let me get back to that because I actually just had it and then pulled it off. Proverb, a short, pithy saying in general use, stating a general truth or piece of advice. You understand? Now, what's an example of a general truth when it comes to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? And the condition that we are in today at that. Go ahead.
Would it be that how we're treated differently?
mind you as well that in Deuteronomy chapter 28, going from 15 to 68, these are curses. You understand? Now that was verse 37, right? Which is in the boundaries of
curses.
Okay. So, what was your answer again?
If how we're treated differently is it?
I need more than that. A lot more than that. What you mean by what do you mean by that?
How we're considered savages or anything, but when it comes to other people, it's he might have a mental illness or don't even like bat an eye towards him.
No, there you go. That's a great example. No, that is what I was looking for. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So, what was the first word that was used? Astonishment, which meant
a great surprise.
Great surprise. It's like, oh man, I mean, great surprise. Like, wow, these people are a proverb, which is, like, wow, these people are freaking savages. Like, this is ridiculous. Now look up what is a proverb. Byword, Salaki. Look up the definition of byword.
Byword, a person or thing cited as a notorious and outstanding example or embodiment of something.
Say that one more time.
A person or thing cited as a notorious and outstanding example or embodiment of something.
So they are astonished, they're surprised, they're like, what in the hell? By the general, all of us are based off of the general perception of how they view us as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Being thugs, Hispanics, being thugs, actually, Salagi, if I may, being called Hispanic is derogatory in my personal opinion, because you ain't Hispanic. Like, you Issachar, you Asher, you Naphtali, you know what I'm saying? But, they astonished, great amazement, a proverb where, we basically made as an example. And then what was byword?
A person or thing cited as a notorious and outstanding example or embodiment of something.
Is that the only definition it has?
This might be a little better. A word or expression summarizing a thing's characteristics or a person's principles.
Is that the only one?
Yeah, those are the only two.
Okay. So you're probably right with that one, because mind you as well, what's the definition of nigger? Do you know off the top of your head? It's a stupid or ignorant person. And if white people view all black people as niggers, they view us all as astonished. Oh my goodness. The general, being the proverb, being that, that general piece of advice, basically, like, this is exactly why we don't act like that byword. Ultimately, a byword is all of that is derogatory. It is not a good thing. You understand? Being a byword, being known as a byword, being known as niggers, it's not a good thing. And mind you as well, a lot of us, we take pride in that, as I was saying before. You understand what I'm saying? We take pride in that. And yet we would question whether or not who the people are that Yahushua actually died for. Who else is lost? Who else lives by a byword? Who else is a proverb for all the other nations? Where they just sit there in astonishment, like, that's crazy. They really act like that. Because of the general, whom of which the general are destroyed terribly. So destroyed to the point where, yeah, I'm a thought. Yeah, I'm a whore. But I got pride in it. Y'all gotta, let's go back to what's her name? What's Will Smith's wife's name? Jada Pickett Smith. That's her name, right? We so destroyed that our women glorified a whore, a slut, for what she did. For her sleeping with another man. And just called it and coined entanglement. I was in an entanglement. That's how destroyed we are. And then, mind you as well, our sisters, our daughters follow suit with that. And thought, well, she did it. I'm going to do it too. But the goofy part is, now, mind you, I do know his hypocrisy about how that, what's his name, Jackson Davis or whatever, you know, that brother that I guess a lot of you goofy sisters was watching and following on, you know, Christian relationship advice where he was telling you, mind you, this is a brother telling you, and this, mind you, this lets you know how wicked the doggone Christian church is in the first place. All right? Where this brother is telling you to leave your man because, you know, if you're doing X, Y, and Z and he is doing X, Y, and Z or isn't doing X, Y, and Z, what have you, you deserve better. You deserve so much, so you should leave your man. As a matter of fact, I've seen this doggone post after it had came out that he got caught cheating on his wife on the couch or something like that. But one of the sisters said, like, yo, I've been watching your videos for a hot minute and I was in the process of leaving my man and then you did this. Like, please. Like, she literally said, please make sense of this. Make sense. First and foremost, sis, I'm gonna make sense for it. I'm gonna make sense of it for you right now. You weren't following the priest and prophet of the Lord. Let's just start off with that. All right, you was following some goofy ass Christian, you know, some Christian, just a Christian. Because I really don't know who he is and what he is, to keep it a buck with you. I just know a very little of the story. All right, but you following a Christian. And you follow a Christian, you follow into Catholicism, you follow anything but this truth, oh yeah, your ass gonna get played. You know, you gonna be, you sisters gonna think that you in a situation, that you in a relationship, that you know what's going on. I know what it is. You know, we got trust. But you be knowing doggone well how men really are. And come to find out, what I believe that's what happened was, you know, his wife walked in and saw him ribbing up another woman. I mean, and that was y'all's go-to for advice. Like, come on now. And y'all glorify one side, let a brother do it, it's all bad. You know what I'm saying? So that in a sense, let y'all know all by itself who the lost sheep is. All right? Let's go ahead and drop that. Was that 15 and 24? We're going to drop that. Go to the book of John, chapter 4, verse 22. And mind y'all as well, if y'all got any questions, you know, while we going through things, you know, put your questions in the live chat. You know what I'm saying? Whether it goes with the subject, off the subject, what have you. You got a question, you know, let your question be heard. You understand? Check the YouTube just in case. See what we got going on there. All right, no sweat. Go ahead and read that when you got it.
Was it 4:22?
Con.
The book of John, chapter 4, verse 22.
Uh-huh.
Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
Now, mind you, the topic is who Christ actually died for. You understand? And what color is this written in?
It's in red.
It's written in red. This is Yahweh Shemashayah speaking right now in the Hebrew, or, according to the Bible, Jesus Christ in the English. According to the Bible in English, Jesus Christ. You understand? But Christ, Yahweh Shemashayah has said, ye worship, ye know not what. That's basically saying that, like, when y'all out here in the Christian churches, the Catholic churches, you doing Muslim, you doing Buddhism, you doing Hinduism, because there's a lot of people with them little goofy ass dreads and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You doing things, you worshiping things that you don't even know that you worship. Mind you, as well, modern day. Those of y'all that sit there on that doggone Xbox all freaking day, sit there and watch TV all freaking day. You don't even know who you worship. You don't even know what you worshiping right now. You come into this truth, you'll come to realize when you sitting there spending, 18 hours of your day playing that video game, watching TV, you spending all your time on something that is just supposed to be a leisure activity. When you going outside of that leisure activity, that leisure time frame, man, you worshiping that. You understand? That is your God. Because what's the first thing that you do when you wake up? You wake up and turn on that Xbox. You wake up and turn on that PlayStation. You wake up and turn on that TV and put it on your ESPN, this, that, and the other. That's the first thing that you do. But what should be the first thing that you do? Do you know, young man? No sweat. First thing that you should do is recognize, oh shit, I got another day to breathe. I got another day to live. There's someone I need to thank. Who?
Most High.
That should be the first thing that you do every morning. You love the Most High. I mean, what, you love the TV gave you life? That Xbox gave you, that PlayStation gave you life? You sure as hell turn that the hell on as soon as you wake up to give it worship. Your undivided attention, all your love. Love is what you do, it's not what you feel. Understand that. When all you do is give all your attention, all your energy into anything. I was just using those as examples. You know what I'm saying? Anything that you devote your time and energy to, like, that's what you love. Now, mind you as well, let's say, we got brothers and sisters that, they got their slaveries, they got their hustle. Now, mind you, I mean a lawful hustle. Like, let's say you a leather worker, you do jewelry, make fringes, whatever, you cook, whatever. You got your little job, your little side hustle, whatever. You put in your work for that, ain't nothing wrong with that. Putting in all that, the time that you have to so that you can pay your bills, so that you can survive in this messed up ass, twisted world that we live in. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you put it before the Most High, that's an issue. When anything comes first before the Most High, that's an issue. Why? I mean, the Most High gave you the opportunity to have that TV, that Xbox, PlayStation, that job, that hustle.
anything that you are involved in, the Most High, man, the Most High gave everything about me from head to toe, from here to there. Anything that I am involved, I touch, I put my hands on, is not just because I just simply wanted it. It's because the Most High, decided He was going to give it to me. Does that make sense? I take no credit for anything that I have. You understand me? Anything that I've gained, I didn't gain it. It was given. The Most High gave it to me. And I mean, hell, to keep it a buck, a lot of it was, He gave it to me out of mercy. Man, yo, goofy ass, man, here go a job. Yo, goofy ass, man, give me some bread, bro. Let me set you up with a decent woman. Let me set you up with this. Look, Most High gave it to me. You understand what I'm saying? Man, none of this with me. Most High gave it to me. You understand? For then it says, we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. Break that down for me. Break down that whole verse for me.
Ye worship ye know not what? We don't exactly.
Ye worship ye know not what. I just went over that. What you worship, you don't know what you worship. You don't even know what you worship. Go on from there and break that down.
We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
What's that saying? And speak up.
Saying that we know where we come from, we know who we worship, and our salvation are only basically for Israel.
Wait, no. Say that again.
We know where we come from. We know who we worship, and basically who gave us this opportunity, and that salvation is only for Israel.
All right, so I'm gonna say this real quick. Make sure that you pay attention to punctuation. Punctuation and grammar is always important. All right, especially in the English language. So it says at the very beginning, it says, "Ye worship ye know not what." Then there's a colon. So the ye that's saying you don't know what you worship. Then there's a colon. So it's basically a sidebar. You don't know who you worship, but we know what we worship. And colon again. For salvation is of the Jews. You can go a couple verses up to get context. Let's start from let's see if we can start from 19, if that'll help you.
The book of John, chapter 4, verse 19.
Uh-huh.
The woman said unto him, Sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet.
Okay, so the him is Yahushua. This woman is speaking to Yahushua Mashiach, or Jesus Christ, in English. Go ahead.
Verse 20.
Uh-huh.
Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 21. Yahushua said unto her, Woman, believe me, that the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem. Worship the Father.
Read that again. From woman.
Woman, believe me, the hour cometh, when ye shall neither in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem, worship the Father.
What's that mean? What's he saying right there? What did Yahweh just say right there? So believe me, the hour cometh. He said, woman, trust me, the time is coming. You understand? When ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Who's the Father? The Most High God, right? So now go up back to verse 20, where the woman said, our fathers worshipped in this mountain. And ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. So she's saying that in this mountain, our fathers worship the Most High together. And then also in Jerusalem, we're going to worship there as well, right? Where men ought to go and worship. Go ahead. What you got?
Is he basically saying that there's gonna be a time that there isn't gonna be like a place to worship? Like you shouldn't be even worshiping at a place. You should just do it.
Say that one more time to make sure, just so I can make sure I heard you correctly.
Basically, that there's going to be a time that there isn't going to be a place to worship, but that you're going to have to learn how to worship without having something or a place to be at. It's just worshiping on your own. I guess you would say.
No, that's not what Yahweh is saying. Are you in that mountain? Are you in Jerusalem? But are you in a place where you still worship the Most High? Where's Captain Tazariak at? Is he in Jerusalem? Is Commander General Yohana, is he on that mountain? Is General Mahayman, does he alternate between the mountain and that in Jerusalem? Or any of the brothers in ISUPK alternating between the two? So, mind you, in verse 19 it says, the woman saith unto him, Sir, I see, my perception, like I see, my understanding of my sight of what I see, that thou art a prophet. So this woman, I believe it is a sister. This sister is saying that, I see and understand. I understand what I see and that you're a prophet. She said, our fathers worship in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Yahweh said to her, Yahweh said unto a woman, believe me, the hour cometh, the time is going to come, when ye shall neither in this mountain, nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. So in other words, there's going to be a time where not only in this mountain or in Jerusalem, you still going to worship the Father. Go ahead.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So maybe I misunderstood what you was trying to say. Then it's like now, let's go into verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what. He basically he's not asking her, he's telling her, you don't know what you worship. Because like for example, if you believe that you had to go to Jerusalem today to worship the Most High, right? Is that the land? Is that our land? It is. But who's inhabiting it? Who's got control over it? So when you go over there to worship, are you actually going to be worshiping the Most High when that land is defiled? Because mind you, in Israel, they have an LGWXYZ, whatever the hell it's called, LGBTQ parades, XYZ. You know, that's gonna come out. They got a show called XYZ. It's got the X chromosome, the Y chromosome, and it was like YZ. I'm just saying, you know, that's gonna be the next thing on the alphabet. So, but mind you, like they having parades over there on our holy land, on our land. If you doing that LGBTQ on holy land, think about it. What did the LGBTQ do? Abominable things. When a man lays with a man, a woman lays with a woman, and then mind you, the Jewish people, they allow it. They saying this is okay. Because if you don't fight against something, you align yourself with it. If you say that, no, this is wrong, you should not abort babies. If you don't do that, you support it. If you say no, if you don't say no, it's a lie, kid. If you don't say no, you should not have abortions, you support abortions. If you don't say no, you should not be a homosexual, you support being a homosexual. If you don't say no, you shouldn't just have sex with you shouldn't have sex with a sister, with, you know, a woman of our people, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. I ain't trying to have y'all make a clip out of me or anything. But if you don't say no to whoremongering your own sisters, we'll say that, then you support it. You for it. Can you tell me what a prime example of that is? What's a very go-to quick example of supporting and not supporting something in today's world, in today's times? Just for time's sake, voting. And this is how wicked voting is in the first place. Let's say that you vote. I'm not even going to say that you vote for a person. When they have their voting polls to pass a bill and they bring it down to the people, right? What a lot of people don't understand is that when you vote for one thing where, let's say it's gun rights, say, you know what, I'm pro-guns. You know, all the stipulations with everybody should have a gun, this, that, and the other, just be an American citizen. Okay, cool. Sound good, don't it? Sound real good. But how do you think all this nastiness gets passed as well? Who do you think legislated to allow 8-year-old children to be able to decide, oh, if I have I'm born with a penis, mind you well, it's 8 years old. Born with a penis, I don't want a penis. At 8 years old, and if that parent, either parent, says no, you can't do that, the child will be taken away by CPS, and you'll get a fine and or prison time. Who voted for that? Who voted for that? Now, mind you, the LGBTQ WXYZ community might have done that. Okay. But are those numbers big enough? Bigger than, you know, the rest of the population? Now, this isn't me trying to say that they're a minority. Because, I mean, they're not a minority. They're just, that's like saying people with schizophrenia are the minority, a minority group. You understand? They got health issues. That's all that is. They got mental health issues. Then, I mean, Salaki, but most likely going to send them some health issues, aside from the mentality. But what? Oh, Salaki, I let that question slip my mind. With them doing it. Oh yeah, okay. Who voted for that? Who brought that in? Who said, you know what? Yeah, I'm cool with my 8-year-old child deciding to be able to tell me the majority, democracy says majority vote on things, correct? Right? Or do I have a misunderstanding of how democracy works? If I do, then please let me know. Because as far as I know, democracy is about majority vote and voting. And that's also what our senators, our governors, our mayors, our governors, our senators, House of Representatives, all the way up to the presidency. I don't know the rank and order. I really don't. So if I messed it up, then my bad, your fault. You didn't teach me well enough in school. But, I mean, who voted that in? We all understand that we vote a certain person in, but what does that person actually support? Where they tell you that they about this, that, and the other, but you don't know the back end of what they're going to bring in. You understand what I'm saying? And then on top of that, to get back on them double-sided bills, where they'll talk about how they're going to ban a gun law, and the bill, what you see, and this how much of a devil these people are, how much of a deceiver these people are, is that at the end of the day, they'll drop a contract. Boom. Bam, you got this. This is the contract. See them bold letters? Bam. And then you sign the contract, and you do something that apparently makes you void that contract. What the hell, man? I actually read through it myself. Oh, no. If you've seen, what's that movie? Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka, on that contract, in the very beginning, there was that fine print. He had to take a magnifying glass. I mean, a lot of us don't take that time to, no, hold on. But that's part of actually digging into who you try to align yourself with. Now, mind you, with that being said, and I'm going to leave it out there, John 4:22. I think we can leave it here. Because the thing is that's leaving it off of, we know who we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. We only worship the Most High God, our King, Yahweh Shah Mashiach. He is only about what is written in this book, and there is no fine print. The only issue is the reason why you feel like there is fine print is particularly for those that are so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, why you might feel like there's a fine print in it, why it's so difficult to actually understand this, is simply because of the fact that you let these heathen people use this book to pimp you out. Essentially, that's what it comes down to. You know, pimp you out through TD Jakes and Creflo Dollar. And what's that white dude name? What's his name? You know what? It's irrelevant. The point is all these Christian and Catholic churches is all on the same note. They all on the same mentality. Just essentially pimp you out. Take all them dollars out of you, but in the meantime, keeping you at the very bottom. You understand? Because as long as you at the bottom, you ain't doing nothing to progress your people. You ain't showing no brotherhood for your people. You ain't got the mindset of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. Because you just think that Christ just died for you to be a queer homosexual. Majority of people of color that voted for Biden because they thought he was better than Trump. No, you right, sis. No, you right. Because, you know, essentially our people got tired of the racism that Trump brought out. And you know what? I'm going to say this. Me personally, with Donald Trump, just so that there's not a clip made, I will say this. With Donald Trump, the only reason why I support Donald Trump is because he helped shed the light, Salakia, on the true racism, the true colors, the true feelings of white America on so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because, I mean, now that you got this whole Asian, what do they call it? Asian Lives Matter, or something along the lines of Asian Lives Matter, or, you know, support the Asians, whatever. How often do you hear all lives matter? You don't hear that now. Y'all think about that? All lives matter is out the window now. But when it was Black Lives Matter, now mind you, ISUPK don't support Black Lives Matter because, mind you as well, the founder of Black Lives Matter was is they're some lesbians. So essentially, Black Lives Matter is funded by the LGBTQWYZ. Then not only that, but I believe they made what I'm pretty sure it's more than this number I'm about to give you, but I'm gonna lowball it with this. With $97 million in the last the last year? I'm pretty sure it was what I read was $970 million. But I'm just gonna lowball it and remove a zero. But my question is how much of that money was contributed to the ghettos in America? Why isn't Martin Luther King Boulevard in Las Vegas built up now? Why aren't I seeing any type of new buildings? Any type of new construction, period? Why am I not hearing that? I'm hearing about, Flint, Michigan building up. No, right. Salakia, sir. But no, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Black Lives Matter ain't doing nothing. They straight profit. Straight profit. Because what contribution have they actually done to reforming the ghettos? You know what I'm saying? To reforming the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American communities. Because mind you as well, the Native Americans and the Hispanic, the Mexicans, the Colombians, the Cubans, you know what I'm saying? All of South America, like, that's us too. They black. There are people, they're going through the same oppression. The only thing that's different is the language and ideology that was brought down on them. But ultimately, Christianity and Catholicism is the same thing. North America got Christianity and South America got Catholicism. North America got English and South America got Spanish. You know what I'm saying? But, I don't want to go too far out of my time with that. I just want to say, make sure that y'all keep track. April 24th is going to be the Passover. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you pay your tithes. Make sure that you pay your Passover fees. April 24th, Houston, Texas. It's about to go down. You know what I'm saying? All of Israel is about to be there. Like if I may, I'm super excited. Thursday is going to be the slaughter of the lambs. Friday we're gonna have a mansion party. Saturday is the Passover, and then Sunday is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that you come down to Houston, Texas. For those of y'all that want more information, if you're on YouTube and you want more information, make sure that you get on Facebook and like the Facebook ISUPK Las Vegas page. You know what I'm saying? Like that page. Stay tuned with our updates. And then also, if you have a question that you just need answered right then and there, whether it's with Passover or what have you, send a message to the Facebook page, and we'll get you an answer. You know what I'm saying? With that being said as well, make sure that for those of y'all that are tuning in, like and share share and subscribe to our ISUPK Nevada YouTube page. Like and share our ISUPK Las Vegas Facebook page. And yeah, just stay tuned. We pushing out mad content. You know what I'm saying? From interviews to our upbringing, from coming from the world into this truth. You know what I'm saying? But with that, I'm priest and officer of 50 Iraq Banya Hawada, and this is the ISUPK Las Vegas Tuesday Brotherhood class. And with that, Shalom Yashabur Brakatham. Our class dismissed.